I hope everybody is having a good weekend. I forgot that the audio source for the microphone got changed by the system, and that was in the other set of scenes. So I had not updated it in this scene set, despite the fact that I spent the last 2 hours working on the scenes so that I could update them from Martian Dreams to Ultima Underworld. Yeah, I never once checked to make sure the microphone worked. Anyway, hi Sterling. It's good to see you. I don't know if anybody else is here, but if anybody is, hello to you as well. I know Elixir will not be here today because so many workish things happening. I actually, after I had announced last weekend, yes, I know I've been away for a while, but I will get back to normal stuff, my full normal schedule starting this week. Then I went to work and realized, oh yeah, we have tons of work stuff happening on Saturday. And thankfully they didn't need me. Or I would have had to cancel for work. Which would have bothered me some. Sterling, I hope things are going well for you. I know that you've been stupid busy since spring break ended. Just opened a Dr. Pepper, so things are looking up. My trainer gave me a packet on nutrition, and we're talking about nutrition and a plan for what I should be eating when I go tomorrow for my training session. And so I'm thinking about all the things that I'm not going to be eating. There's no way. I just have to make a plan that works for me. There's no way that I can 100% give up pizza. There will be pizza. I just have to figure out when to have it. But yeah, no, it's good. I can use the guidance and the someone keeping me accountable, I suppose. This whole fitness thing on Street Celebration, did it work? I don't know. I didn't see, because I don't think that shows up in my overlay. But hopefully there's lots of this is fines going all over the screen. Okay, yeah, I don't have the actual live video of what you all see, and so that doesn't actually play in my overlay, so I didn't know for sure. So yeah, I get to start tracking what I'm eating and learning about macros and paying attention to them, and it makes sense. It's good. Ultimately, it'll be good. And hopefully by doing this and actually commit to it, gonna track it, gonna pay attention, hopefully I will be able to put myself in a calorie deficit that will eventually reduce the size of my belly. Because while I actually have some muscles now, I still have a gigantor belly. I mean, it's not the biggest. It doesn't look terrible. But to me, it is a constant weight upon my mind, not just my body. And that's partly because, okay, when I was in high school, I thought I was fat. I was not fat. I'm poking around my computer now. I'm going to see if I can find a picture that you all can observe. Somewhere I have my senior picture. One of my senior pictures, but yeah, we're gonna do this. We are gonna do this. Let's add an image. Don't make it visible yet. Your trainer wants you to start doing cardio. So I'm supposed to, like, I see my trainer 3 days a week, and he's gonna give, like, I'm gonna have the focus on food and diet and whatnot, but also one of the days, I don't know, he's gonna give me exercises to do for core and for cardio on Monday and Wednesday, which are days that I don't go and see him. And honestly, having the guidance will be good. I like that I will be given thing to do instead of having to try and come up with it myself. But also, I don't know, I want to succeed, but I'm scared. Because I'm always scared. But, okay. So, I'm going to reveal this photograph. This was my senior pictures. So this would have been spring of my junior year in high school, which is when they take senior pictures. And I thought I was fat. I was not fat. But my self-image, I felt like I had a beach ball in my stomach area. So today I do have something more akin to an actual beach ball shape down there. And eventually it might go away, but honestly, I'm just doing the gym stuff because I'm enjoying it. And I've tracked my food before. I tried to start doing it again when I started going to the gym. But the app that I used to use had implemented microtransactions on like all of the features that I used to use, and I wasn't going to pay for them in that way. So I didn't use it. But anyway, I'm sure I'll ramble about it some more in the future, especially after tomorrow, when we're actually going to sit down before the workout tomorrow and actually talk through, and then he's going to tell me which macros he wants me to track and help me work out what my targets are and whatnot. So, yay. Anyway, what does everybody else have going on? Because like I know not everybody here is into the gym thing. Like I never was, and I will say actually making the decision and deciding to go, but then more so than that, having a friend introduce me to some of the exercises initially, and then hiring a personal trainer to like really work with, worked for me. It got me to a point where I actually like going, and it's not a chore that I don't want to do but feel like I should. So sometimes I go. Like my mental headspace was very different this time, and that helped. Anyway, let's see. What do I have happening? So today we're starting brand new game. We finished Martian Dreams finally. It took me forever. I'm so sorry. I loved the game. I was frustrated that I broke it twice and that it took me so long to get through. It was a struggle at the end. Not because I didn't like the game or want to finish the game, but just because it had been dragging on for so long, it was hard for me to make myself do the streams to finish it. But I got through it. And I do think, like, game-wise, it is probably my favorite of the Ultima games so far. But yeah, we're going to start Ultima Underworld, which I know nothing about. I know that the control interface and such is very different. That's all I know. So we'll learn today what it is. I do want to get back to the things that I was streaming on Sundays before at some point. Like, I want to finish playing Control. I just haven't quite figured out when. We'll see. It'll depend on mental capacity, mental energy. But I may try to throw in an occasional Sunday stream just to work on progressing that. No guarantees on that, though. Monday, we still have some more Strange Horticulture to do. And then after that, I don't know if this will even work. After that, it'll be one of these. I don't know what. Oh gosh, Botany Manor's not supposed to be on that list. We already did Botany Manor. I'll have to make an update to that. Actually, we did Animal Well too. Didn't we? I don't know. I'll get it updated. Clearly, I am having an issue there. That button didn't work. I think that was pointing to the wrong place. Maybe that's why. Anyway. Yeah, and Wednesday, Archival Adventures. We have this week more from the USS Dakota Engineers Journal. That one that we're very near the end, but I don't care how long it takes because every time I think we're going to finish, we find really interesting things to look up and learn about. And so we don't make as much progress as I thought we were going to. I don't know. Coming up, I know the next section deals with the 290, the 290, aka the CSS Alabama. I think it's the Alabama. I don't remember for sure. It sounded interesting. We got a little bit of like just a hint of it in the last episode last month when we were looking at the journal. So I'm excited to find out where that goes. And then we have lined up another, because we have a lot of Civil War journals, but just journals generally. But after this journal is done, because it's been such an interesting experience to like go through this journal and learn, we've identified another journal to pick up afterwards. And this time, I believe it is a journal written by a woman who lived in New Orleans during the American Civil War. And so we'll get to see the perspective of somebody who lived in the South like on the home front during the war, which I don't know. Like, I know people are familiar sort of with the general campaigns that happened, and they know generals' names and presidents, and we've now looked at the perspective of a prominent figure on a naval ship for the Union. He's not, he's the chief engineer, but he doesn't hold like an officer rank, but he's also, from what I can tell, not exactly enlisted. So I don't really quite know where he fits in like the ranking structure. He's not like an officer, like with the titles that go with that. But he is the chief engineer, which puts him in charge and gives him an equivalent rank, like a rank equivalency to what he functionally does. But he doesn't actually hold that rank. I did some research on him specifically, and it's a little bit confusing, but so we've got a perspective of somebody serving in the Union Navy. And we could do like a soldier perspective. We have a number of those, but I thought it'd be interesting to look at a home front perspective. But then even then, we usually look at or see, people usually are more familiar with the Union home front perspective. So I tasked Jules with finding another journal, and she found one from a Confederate woman in New Orleans. And so it sounds like it'll be interesting. The second test was, can I read the handwriting? Because having the journal and having an interesting perspective is great. But if I can't read it, it doesn't work so well on stream. It has to be handwriting that I don't really struggle with. I know, because I've tried in the past. Anyway, I have digressed enough. I think we should find out what Ultima Underworld is all about, and maybe, possibly, actually open the game at some point. Since ostensibly that is the point, and we have totally been playing this game since the beginning of stream. Why is my stream deck apparently non-functional? Okay. I don't have the game open yet, which is why you just have a big blank yellow field. Also, I liked these graphics. These graphics were just like the frames from Martian Dreams, and I'm just keeping them because I like them. That said, I need... Okay. I'm like, let's make this the big version. Big version. Also, I just realized that while, yes, I made this the big version, it could be bigger. Also, I'm gonna give us music for this because right now we don't have any, and we're gonna start, as has been the case with every Ultima game, by looking at the printed documentation that came with the game. Rather than diving straight into the game, these games came with physical books that gave you important information. So first off, we have the map, and I don't know for certain, and I may look for a better version of this map. This is the one that I downloaded from GOG. And honestly, it's really kind of difficult to see. See, even that makes it better. Yeah, let me save this image. Yeah. I'm a little bit scattered, but you know, that's just me. I'm always a little bit scattered. 1 second, and I will get this in place. Anyway, how are people's weekends happening, going, whatever? How is things? Sterling, I have missed you because you've been stupid busy, but I hope that you have had a chance to actually breathe for a second. That's so... Yeah, that's not stupendous. Ooh, that's a good one. Why doesn't dog have that? It's large enough to read. It's in color. It's the same map. It's just a much, much better version. And again, me not know anything about game. Therefore, I want best tool. Also, I have no idea why my grammar just gave up the ghost there for a second. Come on. I'm like, I just saved this thing. Where the heck did I save it? I don't know. Okay. Cool. So much better. This map is so much better. You're trying to motivate yourself to get started. You didn't get out of bed until 12:30 today. Honestly, part of the reason why I'm so limited focus at the moment is I didn't get up until like 10:40, and then I got up, I took my morning medication, I had breakfast, and then I started working on setting up the stream, like putting things together for this game. And with the intent that, oh, it'll just be a couple things. I can do that, and then I'll have a second to like get my head in order. I was working on it right until it was stream time, and so I'm not actually fully awake. But that's normal for me. Anyway, map! The Great Stygian Abyss. As mapped by Corby, page to Circabrius in the 10th year of the 6th age. And so we've got a mountain, a volcano, honestly, it looks like. Entrance to the abyss, there's a goblin home, lair of the lizard men, mountain folk, the tombs, knights of the crux, the grand staircase, seers of the moonstone, meeting halls, unexplored subdepths. That sounds fun. And indications like the key, we've got bridges, doors, pits. I have no idea what word this is. Passages, possibly. Rock, stairway, and water. Honestly, somebody needs to do a much higher resolution version of this. It looks to me like this was a paper map that came with, which is unusual. Usually these games had cloth maps. Can't just feather fall straight to the bottom. Oh, hi, Hellgrove Dragon. I don't know, because I have purposely not researched anything. But just the creases in this image, and after stream I'll find an even better version if I can. The creases make me think this was paper rather than cloth. Am I quiet? I can try being less quiet. Before it was that, but I don't have that on, so I don't know. Let me know if that's a better balance of audio. Okay, so we've got level 1, we've got water, we've got rock, we've got passageways, we've got lots of here there be monsters indications. Stairways. Oh, okay, so the entrance is over here. I love this Ankh-shaped room. But that's the whole map. It's just level 1. There is nothing beyond level 1 on this map. We'll learn as we go. Okay. This is the quick reference card. I usually don't end up needing these. 1992. Title screens followed by the introduction. Create a character. Interface screen. I may, if I manage to find one that I like, I may update my overlays to this interface screen. We'll see. I like the Martian Dreams ones. Okay, so when you journey onward, the main game screen appears. Oh, I didn't update the game info in the bot command. I'll have to... Sorry. I have not gotten things done that I should have gotten done, and it's my fault, and it will happen eventually. I just forgot that it was a thing. View change... Yeah, okay. So this is a first-person, like, dungeon crawl type game, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't know much. 3 panels share. I'll return to the reference card if I end up needing it. This is the actual manual. So, creating your character. Through the choices which you make at this time, you fashion the type of hero. Each option is represented by a button. To make a choice, use the mouse to move the cursor onto the option. Yeah. It's telling you how to use the mouse because it's 92, and we're still relatively new to the whole idea of controlling a game with a mouse. So you get 2 sex options, male or female. Oh, you get a choice of portraits. You can choose right or left-handed. That's new. Classes, we've got Fighter, Mage, Bard, Tinker, Druid, Paladin, Ranger, and Shepherd. Okay, so Fighter, your standard Fighter. Mage, just general caster. Bard, storyteller or musician. Tinker, craftsman, particularly with weapons or armor. Druid, able in both combat and magic. Paladin, warrior who has some spell casting. Ranger is a woodsman skilled at tracking, hunting, and fighting. And Shepherd is sort of a jack of all trades. I like that we still include Shepherd as a class option. Skills, portrait, choose difficulty, standard or easy. This is, I think this is the very first Ultima game that had a difficulty level selection. I don't think that's been a thing before. Name. You can scrap it and start over. Walk through the game screen. I think we'll figure that out. Saving, before you do anything else, save the game. If you die before saving, you will have to go through the character creation process again. It'd be nice if they would have automated that saving, but okay. Oh, wait, what? Okay, so options. All right. Yeah, well, we may have to refer to that at some point. Two rules govern movement. Rule 1, while your cursor is inside the view window, its shape determines the direction in which you move. If you press and hold down the left mouse button, if it points right, you'll move to the right. If it points upward, you'll move forward, and so forth. Rule 2, the speed at which you move depends on how far your cursor is from the center of the view window. If it's exactly centered, it changes into a cross and you don't move at all. Okay, but if you move closer to the edge of the window, you move faster. Interesting. Easy move mode. If you have difficulty maneuvering in 3D space, I think it means in the virtual 3D space of the game, because I do have difficulty maneuvering in 3D space. Me personally, physically, in the world, but I don't think it means that. But, you know, I could try using the arrow keys on the base of the compass below the view window, and maybe that would make me move better around the world. I might have to consider that. The curving left and right arrows turn you 45 degrees. Up arrow. There is no... Oh, press X to move back. It moves 2 feet with each key press. There is no mouse equivalent for the X command. So less realistic than normal movement through the dungeon. Using the arrows might make it easier to maneuver through the dungeons. So it sounds like you can... I wonder if I could just use the arrow keys still? Options, talk, get, look, fight, use. Okay. The icons are easy to use and give you a good understanding of the way Ultima Underworld works, but if you are an experienced game player and mouse user, you can access many commands without using the icons. If none of the icons are highlighted, you enter a very useful shortcut mode called Default Mode. If you're just learning to play Ultima Underworld, we recommend using the icons for a while, and this tutorial assumes you will do so. Eventually, perhaps even before you complete this tutorial, you will want to try the iconless default interface. All right, I'm gonna skip past some of this because I have a feeling it's gonna be somewhat similar to other 90s games like the Sierra games, King's Quest and Space Quest and whatnot. And, you know, if it isn't intuitive enough to me, then I can always refer back. Playing it safe. You're about to embark on a journey. It may seem like you're going out of your way and retracing your steps, but it will pay off in the long run. First, go to your auto map and write yourself a note indicating your current location. Ooh. Go back to the main core. You can write yourself notes on the map? I am excited by this possibility. We will explore it at some point. Combat. Oh, I should probably read part of the combat thing at least. Attack. To attack, position the cursor over your target, then press and hold down the right mouse button. Causes your weapon to disappear from the view window as you pull it back into the ready position. Oh. Yeah, we'll see how we go. How we do. I don't know. Collecting booty, and should you die? Conversation. Default mode. In the tutorial above, you used the command icons to control the function of the right mouse button and interact with the world. However, experienced players can perform almost all of the functions while in default mode. That is, with no icons selected. Anytime none of the icons is selected, you are in default mode. To unselect a highlighted icon, click on it. In default mode, you can look to look at a creature or object, whether in the view window or in your inventory. Right-click. Okay, you can tell what an object is, but no more. To search something carefully, you have to use the look icon to enter look mode. Okay. That's actually, I understand the difference between that. Like, if I just was like, okay, I have this thing in my inventory, let's click on it real quick just to see what was this? But if I want the full description, having to actually use the look command makes sense. To get an object you see in the view window, put your cursor over it, press and hold the right mouse button and drag it wherever you want. Ooh. You can press and hold to drag things? That is such a quality of life improvement over the previous games. The game detects whether an object is gettable. If the object is one you can't get, right dragging will generally try to use it. If it is gettable, it will be put in hand, and you can throw it, drop it, or move it into your inventory. Get it, put it, throw it, drop it. Simply release the right button. In default mode, your cursor is always arrow-shaped, so if you need to get a small item, it may be more convenient to enter get mode, which gives you a cross-shaped cursor. Context-sensitive controls? You don't say! I know, it's lovely. This whole journey has been, part of it has been seeing the advancement of user interface over time. Because we started with Ultima 1. And so the fact that we've gone now into games where a mouse exists, but even like the last 3 games we did, Ultima 6, Savage Empire, and Martian Dreams, while the mouse was present, you still had to use a move command to move an item. Being able to just click on an item and drag it from here to there to move it, huge. Talk to a person or creature. Yeah, they are relying on the right mouse button a lot, it seems like. Game detects whether they're interested in conversation. If so, the conversation screen appears. If they aren't interested in conversation, you're informed of the fact and can proceed as you wish. Fight. To toggle in or out of fight mode, simply click on the weapon in your weapon hand. Default mode always allows you to do almost everything you will ever need to do within the game. However, to access the save or restore game features, toggle sound and music on or off, increase or decrease the level of graphic detail, or quit the game, you must use the options icon. All right, cool. Save, restore, music, sound, detail. The level of graphic detail in Ultima Underworld has a direct effect on game speed. If your game seems to be running too slowly, click on the options icon and then on the detail box. The default detail level is very high. To speed up gameplay, decrease that to high, medium, or low. The game won't look quite as good, but it will run more smoothly and faster. Experiment with this option until you achieve a pleasing balance of speed and graphic appeal. That's also new, being able to do that sort of adjustment. Encumbrance. At the right center of the panel, look for the gray circle with glowing yellow numbers. This number represents how much more weight your character can carry. This weight limit number changes when you pick up an object to reflect the fact that you're now carrying something. The more you carry, the slower you move. Encumbrance also affects how far you can jump and how long you can swim before you begin to drown. If the weight limit number ever reaches 0, then you're carrying your maximum load and must drop something before picking up something new. Interesting. So everything you pick up makes you move slower? Attributes. All right, so we've got experience and vitality and mana. Experience is how you level up. Vitality and mana. Mana is like health, except it's a measure of your magical energy. When you're out of mana points, you can't cast spells. So that's all pretty straightforward. 3 primary attributes: strength, dexterity or quickness, and intelligence. Maximum score is 30. Minimum for players is 12. Apparently minimum for other NPCs is not 12. Required skills, optional skills. As you explore the underworld, you will grow hungry and tired. To learn your character's condition, get a status report. To do this, move the cursor until it is over the compass below the view window and then click the right mouse button. At the start of the game, the message reads something like this: you are currently well-fed and wide awake. You are on the first level of the abyss. It is the first day of your imprisonment. You guess that it is currently early evening. Being well-fed means that you're not hungry, therefore you don't need to eat anything. Second sentence tells you your location. Last gives you an idea of what time it is. Okay. If it says you're hungry or tired, you should consider sleeping or eating. What? If you're hungry or tired, you should eat or sleep? I don't think that's true. When you sleep, you regain lost vitality and mana points. However, if you sleep on an empty stomach, your rest will be uneasy and you will recover fewer points. Therefore, it is wise to check your condition before sleeping. And if you are hungry, eat something. You will also sleep poorly if too close to the lairs of beasts, and they might surprise you in your sleep. To sleep, press F10, or better yet, use a bedroll. Your sleep will be more restful. Extinguish light sources when you go to sleep, otherwise they may burn out and be useless to you when you awaken. Remember that spells fade after a time and may have to be recast when you wake up. Okay. Vitality and mana. Flasks, gaining levels. As you gain experience, you'll rise to second, third, etc. How does that happen, though? You're not limited to the ability to... All of this is controlled by experience. You gain... Because all of the previous games, I've had to trigger leveling up in some way. As a higher level... Yeah, okay. Increases in character level are automatic with sufficient increase in experience points. Notice that the level increase appears on the message scroll. Okay, so it's just going to level me up when I hit the experience threshold. That is a huge change. Because the most recent games, you would level up if you had accumulated enough experience. You would just automatically level up when you slept. But if you didn't sleep, it would never trigger the level up. And in the really early games, you could only level up by visiting the different shrines and meditating. Another way in which you progress is through raising your skill scores. Such increases only come as the result of study and deep reflection. You must visit an Ankh shrine and recite the proper mantra The mantras are back! Ankh shrines are located throughout the abyss. Reciting a mantra is not enough to receive the skill bonus. You must first qualify for it by having accumulated enough experience points. You always qualify for a skill bonus after you gain a new character level, but you can sometimes receive skill bonuses between level increases. Whenever you come upon a shrine, talk to it. The words chant the mantra appear in the message scroll. Type in a mantra followed by enter. If you are not yet ready for a skill increase, the shrine will respond by saying you are not ready to advance. Otherwise, it'll tell you what improves. 3 mantras are commonly known. Sumra improves some of your attack skills. Mu'am improves some of your magic skills. And Omka improves some of your other skills. I wonder if the mantras from the older games work. Some of these mantras okay. However, as you explore the dungeon, you will learn mantras that apply not to categories of skills, but to specific skills. Okay. You can jump? You can jump? Jumping. You climb stairs and mount objects up to 2 feet tall by walking onto them. To climb onto an object higher than that, you must jump or fly. Oh gosh. Just hearing about flying in this gives me anxiety because the flying in previous games was so difficult. Anyway, to jump, click the right mouse button while the left mouse button is down. If you press both simultaneously, you will jump in place. Hi, Shadows of Life. The whole game is stressing you out. We haven't even opened the game yet. We're looking at the manual. But no, it literally took me an entire 3-hour stream to get to Planet X, accomplish what I needed to there, and make it back to Earth in Ultima 3. Because you could not save on Planet X. So you had to launch in the spaceship, land on Planet X after navigating to it, and then accomplish what you needed, get back to the spaceship, launch off Planet X, navigate back to Earth, and then successfully land on Earth before you could save. And it took me 3 hours, at least, because timing the landing so that you didn't crash was ridiculously difficult. I just look, you can jump. To jump across a chasm or over an obstacle, make sure you get a running start. What? Forward momentum? As a player convenience, the game will not let you walk off a precipice if you are moving slowly. So if you really mean to jump off a cliff, move swiftly to the edge. Note that you can't jump while in fight mode. When you walk or fall into water, you begin to swim. In Ultima Underworld, swimming is just like walking. However, you can't jump or attack while swimming. To leave the water, you must find a bank that is no higher than 2 feet above the water. While you reach you can automatically okay. All characters can swim, but only for a limited time. The actual amount of time is determined by your character's swimming skill and encumbrance level. Flying. In addition to walking, running, jumping, and swimming, you may learn to fly, either by casting the fly spell or by using a magic item that gives you this ability. The direction of movement is determined by the position of the mouse in the view window, or the standard keyboard movement. That's the first time it's mentioned that you can still move with the keyboard. Movement up and down requires the use of the keyboard. To move up, press E until you reach the desired altitude, and to move down is Q. Lava and movement. The abyss is a volcano, and sooner or later you will find lava flows. Generally, it's best to leap across molten lava if you want to cross it. You can walk on lava, but you take damage while doing so. Finger slots, upper circles, only the one near your primary hand can be used for your weapon. Offhand, shield, other two, your shoulder are good places. Torches. Oh. Interesting. Huh. Combining objects. In general, it's not possible to combine objects of different types. However, it's sometimes possible to make a new object by dragging an object in hand on top of an object in your inventory. For instance, you can drag a torch over an ear of corn to make popcorn. I'm going to guess a non-zero amount of deaths are from trying to swim while encumbered. Probably. Bags and packs. Keep the bags and packs you find, since you can use them to keep your goods organized. A typical adventurer might carry 5 or more bags. A food bag, a bag of keys, a bag of items to barter with, a bag of torches and candles, and a rune bag. You can also place bags inside of other bags to take an item out of your bag, but keep it in your inventory, drag it to the symbol of the open bag. Note that you can't take rune stones out of your rune bag. We will get to fighting eventually. Weapons and armor. Conversation. Oh dear. Social combat. Yep, social combat. Barter. Yeah, we might keep this manual around because I don't want to read all of this right now, but oh, unsuccessful spellcasting is a thing. I had forgotten. It's always been a thing. There just wasn't a lot of spellcasting in the last 2 games. Whenever you cast a spell, there is a chance you will fail. The higher your character's casting skill level, the less likely this is. In general, a failed attempt to cast a spell has no effect. You don't use up mana points, you just waste some time. However, a failed spellcasting attempt may backfire, especially if your casting level is low. A backfire damages the caster. Duration, targeted area, enchanted, the 8 circles. Oh, we've got a spell list. In Mani Lem. Create food. In Lore or Jukes. Bet in Sanctur. I did not ever find my notebook. I don't know where it went. I have a notebook, a physical notebook that has a bunch of notes from Ultima, from the first games, and I don't know where it went. And it has all of the mantras and spells and whatnot. But, yep, no idea. It's gone. Away. It went away. Cause fear, detect monster, lesser heal, rune of warding, slow fall, etc., etc., etc. Okay. Skill list: acrobat, appraise, attack. Oh wow, this is long. Axe, casting, charm, defense, lore, mace, mana, missile, pick, block, repair, search, sneak, swimming, sword, traps, unarmed. They have yeah, the level of complexity with this game has increased a lot. Oh, we've got the runes and their meaning. So if you want to negate death, it's encore. Which should in some way be like the resurrection spell, but that should be like a 8th level spell. but I don't see it. Well, on Jukes, remove trap. We are gonna have the bot tells me that there are going to be ads playing here in just a moment or so. Interestingly, remove trap is on Jukes, which technically translates to negate harm. Okay, that's the whole manual. There's a story introduction. We'll glance at that before I open the game, but we'll do that after the ad break. So I'll be back in just a minute. Or 3. Okay, I think I think we've returned. Hi, hello. Thank you so much for the resubscription, Stephen Joyce. 45 months. We are not yet into the actual game because, as with all of these retro Ultima games, there are assets outside the game that matter. So far we've looked at the map. We have skimmed through the manual, and I don't know what this Memoirs of Cabrius is. It looks like somebody has made a digital version of it. I don't know what's going on. Is this better? I can also bump the music down? Okay. I don't know what. Anyway. It's been this is not the first stream where it has happened. I'm going to have to actually like dedicate some time to figuring stuffs out because I don't know what's going on. Something has changed. I don't know. I somewhat suspect that it might be the latest version of the Wavelength software. We'll see. Okay, a note of explanation. This version came into our possession, or this volume came into our possession only recently, though it was penned decades ago. The chronicler is one Corby, scribe to the Cabrius, whose life was devoted to the doomed experiment on the Isle of the Avatar. All contact with the settlers of the Abyss was lost years ago, and we therefore suppose the colony to be extinct. Joy the Librarian. Proclamation to all who strive along the Avatar's path. I, Cabrius, call upon those of virtue to join me in a valorous quest, one which promises to be rich in sacrifice and spirituality. Decades ago, Lord British, in his wisdom, founded 8 settlements, each dedicated to one of the virtues. We Britannians have lived up to our Lord's expectations for the towns of Britain, Jalom, Minok, Moonglow, Scarbry, Trinsic, and you have flourished to the present day. I believe the time has now come to found one further town, where all of the 8 virtues are bound together into a unified whole. In order to people this new community, I call upon the most faithful among our citizenry to come forward in this cause, fighters and mages first, and later craftsmen and even children. Further, it is my intent to bring together in this new settlement those who have seldom been a part of our civilized community. Creatures of the mountains, woods, and swamps. Whether by myself or my agents, these primitive beings will be contacted, taught of the way of the Avatar, and invited to join our pioneer colony. And where shall this new town be located? This has been a matter of long discussion. At first, it had been thought to place this colony in a setting conducive to its goals, a pleasant woodlands adjacent to a placid lake, or even at the peak of a lofty mountain. However, I have since realized the usefulness to all of Britannia should this center of virtue be situated in such a place as to seal off a gate that has in the past been used by evil forces to trouble us. On the Isle of the Avatar, directly in the great Stygian abyss itself. With the blessing of Lord British, I dedicate myself to this sacred quest, and call upon all who are likewise stirred by the vision of Avatarhood to join me in this honorable deed. Pray that we may succeed, for the auguries hint of dire consequences should we fail to guard the abyss against the incursion of evil. Sir Cabrius. Okay, forward. Poor evil forces, no nice lake and forest for them. Yeah. Well, apparently not for us either. I have a feeling I know where this is heading. As I set these words upon the parchment, I have recently emerged from the Stygian abyss. I am the former page of the late Sir Cabrius. The late Sir Cabrius, oh dear. And the 8 virtues have impelled me to compile these excerpts from the writings and speeches of my beloved spiritual master. Through the founding of our brave colony in the very heart of the great Stygian abyss, Sir Cabrius has demonstrated a degree of valor and sacrifice comparable only to the selfless acts of Lord British or the Avatar themselves. I witness to the honesty and justice of this record with my signature, Corby. The Chronicle of Sir Cabrius. I have chosen to set down upon this parchment the facts as they are known to me concerning this island upon which I and the colonists have chosen to found our new town. I wish that most of this information were not new to my readers, but unfortunately, few of my fellow citizens seem to take as much of an interest in our history as they once did. The Ascent of the Avatar. The Isle of the Avatar was discovered during the Fourth Age, as related in Quest of the Avatar. At the climax of the Avatar's quest, the stranger from another world who came to Britannia in answer to Lord British's summons completed the test of the 8 virtues and became the Avatar, the embodiment of the pure axiom of life. It was during his journeys that the Avatar unearthed a chilling artifact, the skull of Mondain the Wicked, the first of the triad of evil. There were those who claimed that the artifact held the power to destroy all life on our world. Fortunately, it was the stranger who discovered it, and not someone of lesser virtue. Upon completing the path of the 8 virtues, the Avatar embarked on a search for the Codex of Ultimate Wisdom. Legend linked this ancient tome with the subterranean maze known as the Great Stygian Abyss. Truly no one has ever plumbed its depths, wrote Shamino, who arranged by magic to obtain a map of its corridors. I cannot imagine the horrors that await the first to venture into the Stygian depths. The entrance to the abyss was found to lie on an uncharted island southeast of the mainland, guarded by a squadron of sailing ships crewed by ghosts of ancient pirates. Forcing his way past the spectral fleet and unraveling the mysteries of the abyss, the Avatar at last succeeded in obtaining the Codex of Ultimate Wisdom. In honor of this achievement, the Mystery Island was christened the Isle of the Avatar. That was Ultima 4. Peace and Treachery. With the Avatar's triumph accomplished, Britannia settled down for a period of reconstruction and consolidation. The kingdom's seers took note of the discoveries made by the Avatar on the Isle of the Avatar, notably the entrance to the dungeon Hithloth, which was sealed shut, and the location of the Shrine of Humility. Lord British also caused a second sanctuary to be built, where the Codex of Ultimate Wisdom was enshrined. Curious scholars researched the ancient records of the land and identified the Isle of the Avatar as the former home in another age of the great demons who destroyed old Magencia for its lack of humility. The same beings had guarded the Shrine of Humility through the eons, but now the mystic creatures could no longer be found. Meanwhile, the raising of the Codex from its subterranean resting place had caused great disturbances across the face of the land and opened a vast underground network of caverns, which came to be known as the Underworld. The Great Stygian Abyss became one of the many entrances to this subsurface world. Volcanism tore up the isle, reawakening its central volcano. The next drama in Britannian history, as related in Warriors of Destiny, involved the kidnapping of Lord British. Since the king was believed dead, his realm fell under the rule of Lord Blackthorn, whose good nature was corrupted by the Shadow Lords. The Avatar was once more summoned from his distant world to combat the menace, and his torturous quest took him once more to the Isle of the Avatar and the depths beneath it before his victory. That was Ultima 5. The Time of Prophecy. When the Avatar liberated Lord British from imprisonment, the act had both geological and spiritual reverberations. The most dramatic of these was the collapse of the Underworld, which forced many denizens of the depths to venture into our surface world. Curse those Shadow Lords, even us giving you shadows a bad name. I mean, we, surprisingly, at the end of Martian Dreams, where we were in the 1860s in our universe on Mars, the big bad that we had to defeat at the end was the 3 Shadow Lords. It was only surprising because we were still the Avatar, but until the end of the game, there was no indication that the Shadow Lords had crossed over into that universe, and were going to try and manipulate things. Such a good game. Among those who emerged from below were the gargoyles, whose sages prophesied that their race could only be saved by the recovery of the Codex of Ultimate Wisdom, which they claimed as their property, and the destruction of the anti-prophet, whom they believed the Avatar to be. With diabolical cunning, the subterranean beings summoned the Avatar to Britannia in an attempt to kill him, but Lord British intervened in time to rescue the Otherworlder. Still, the gargoyles remained a threat to the peace of Britannia, and the Avatar embarked on a difficult quest, which once again brought him to the Isle of the Avatar. The twin shrines were, in time, liberated from the gargoyles' possession, and in the lower regions of Dungeon Hithloth, from which most monsters, save drakes and dragons, had been driven by lava, the stranger rescued a mariner with priceless information about the gargoyle menace. Eventually, the Avatar realized that there was but one way to peace to Britannia, making the Codex of Ultimate Wisdom accessible to both Lord British's subjects and to the gargoyles by placing the Codex in the vortex and then supplying both enemies with mystic lenses, by which they could view the arcane tome. By working his solution from the shrine on Avatar Isle, the Otherworlder brought peace to our world. That was Ultima 6. 10 years later, the Avatar has now returned to his world, and we must seek our future through our own devotion to the 8 virtues. Thus, it has come to pass that I, Cabrius, have set about to found a town of virtue within one of the arcane foci of Britannia, on the Isle of the Avatar, within the Great Stygian Abyss. Ooh, we get an entire map of Britannia. Codex of Ultimate Wisdom to the tune of Ultimate Showdown? I don't, but mostly probably just because I don't know the tune of Ultimate Showdown. But so here's Lord British's castle and the town of Britain. Oh gosh, it has been a while. I'm trying to remember which town is which. We'll figure it out. This is the Isle of the Avatar here. Wow. It's been more than a year. The ultimate showdown of ultimate destiny. This is Scarab Rye over here. I think. Yeah. Oh gosh, I'm going to have to completely refamiliarize myself. It's fine. Actually, I probably won't even need it for this game. I doubt we're going to spend much time on the surface world. The Colony of the Abyss. With the permission of Lord British, my fellow colonists and I set sail for the Isle of the Avatar 5 years ago. After a brief, though difficult voyage, we sighted the bleak, foreboding island rising above the waves. We wasted no time in charting out the island, pausing to meditate at the twin shrines, and once again sealing the entrance to the dungeon Hithloth. Our company of warriors, mages, and other pioneers then made the descent into the legendary abyss. The eruptions and quakes of the past drove away many of the former predators of the chasm, and with the island again stable, we can dwell here in relative security. Nevertheless, our fighters find many challenges against which to test their valor. It's a volcano! It's gonna erupt again someday! Sorry. We can live here. It's safe. The volcano isn't erupting anymore. Lord British ordered that a village be established upon the surface of our isle as a point of contact between ourselves and the rest of Britannia. Baron Almric, formerly the King's Master of Hounds, has been appointed to command the settlement. His men have erected a rough stone tower, and the completion of a small fort should take only a few years more. Lord British may soon favor us with a seat upon his council. That is, we may gain equal status with the 8 towns of the virtues. If so, this can only be because of the brotherhood we have established among the disparate societies who have settled this colony: knights, mountain folk, seers, lizard men, goblins, and trolls. Knights of the Crux. The first to respond to the proclamation of the Abyssal Colony were the Knights of Jalom. These fighting men from the town which Lord British dedicated to a life of valor were attracted by the very valorous nature of our enterprise. Here, the former warriors of Jalom have formed the Order of the Crux, the Order of the Crux Ansata. Crux Ansata being an ancient term for Ankh, in the hope of establishing an organization to rival the heralded Order of the Silver Serpent. Someday, they plan to have extensive training facilities and barracks for young recruits, but at the present time, conditions remain primitive. Warriors and mages, while not exactly traditional enemies, have often been bickering companions in the world of Britannia. Such is not true among us, for the Knights of the Crux Anasta, I will get it eventually. Such is not true among us, for the Knights of the Crux Ansata are dependent upon our wizards for magical light and healing. Therefore, mage and fighter are amiable allies in the abyss. Our knights have also renounced many lifelong prejudices and formed friendships with their traditional foes, our troll, goblin, and lizardman citizens. Any fighter who violates the least aspect of the strict code of the Crux Ansata must submit himself to the will of the Night Master, who prides himself on finding acts of penance which match the violation. This method of discipline has worked so well that the knights have become strict advocates of the way of the Avatar, and are often the first to locate and bring violators to our court of justice. Mountain folk. Our colony in the Abyss is a place for new beginnings. This has certainly been true for the mountain folk of Britannia. Short of stature and broad of shoulder, the mountain folk, known in times past as dwarves, though they detest this name, have a unique lifestyle dedicated to traditional craftsmanship. Over the ages, however, their distrust of outsiders and their well-known love for precious metals have put them in disrepute. In the past century, many of the folk abandoned their old ways, left their homes, and married outside their clan. I was surprised when the chief of the mountain folk wrote to me considering the desire for his people to join the Abyssal Colony. Knowing that the folk were in danger of dying out as a culture, I suggested that the chief might not want his people to be part of our town, where after our sorry. I'm tripping over my tongue right now. Knowing that the folk were in danger of dying out as a culture, I suggested that the chief might not want his people to be part of our town, where, after all, our goal is to prove that all people can live in unity. However, Chief Goldsword was stubborn and correct about his people being useful in hewing out living quarters from the rocks of the chasm. Indeed, some histories claim that the mountain folk built the original passageways of the Abyss in the days when the Isle of the Avatar first rose from the ocean. The mountain folk have proved to be excellent fellow citizens, and they are on friendly terms with our knights and seers. They even abide the presence of their traditional foes, the trolls. Seers of the Moonstone. On the southern tip of Verity Isle, the town of Moonglow was founded by the mages of Britannia as a settlement embodying the virtue of honesty. The wizards of this town were among the first to volunteer to be colonists, and an entire contingent of mages joined me on our first voyage to Avatar Isle. Our magic users have formed their own order of magic and refer to themselves as the Ancient Illuminated Seers of the Moonstone. They have an especially close relationship with the mountain folk. It was the mountaineers who carved out the seers' living chambers from the rock walls of the chasm. The seers have, of necessity, chosen to specialize in those magics useful in our subterranean abode, spells of light, food, and comfort. They also conduct many magical experiments and hope to find new spell reagents among the materials which occur naturally in the abyss. The seers have asked our explorers to bring back samples of all they find. The seers do not speak directly to me of their matters, but I have overheard them on occasion. While the 8 virtues may have prompted some of the mages to travel here, I believe that most came for the chance to conduct experiments. It is said that the Great Abyss is unique in all of Britannia because the barrier between dimensions is especially thin here. Corby. Lizard men. The Dark Ages is the name given to that long... Let's try that again. The Dark Ages is the name given to that long ago time when the triad of evil stalked the lands. In those same years, when Lord British first arrived upon our shores, a young mage named Mondain was perfecting his skills in the arcane arts. The wizard slew his own father in order to seize a gem with mystic powers. Mondain subverted the jewel to evil purposes and began a campaign of unrest and dismay against all of the world. In his most foul experiments, Mondain dissected his own servitors as well as the great reptiles, which then dwelt in the southern swamps. Reuniting the body parts through magical means, he created a variety of strange saurian forms. One strain proved successful and thus became the lizard men to our world. After Mondain was slain, the lizard men were hunted down one by one until none remained. Or so it was thought, until our colonists came to settle the abyss. Here we found the last clan of the reptilians living in the grottos. Inspired by compassion, we forbore slaying the monsters and taught them of the path of the Avatar. To our delight, the lizard men can understand the common tongue, but not speak it. Goblins and lizard men intermingle in the wetter portions of the abyss and have a friendly rivalry with the mountain folk. The mountain men hate dampness, and would build channels and drain the abyss if left to themselves. Goblins. The goblins originated from forbidden arcane experiments performed on prisoners and other victims by demented, power-seeking mages. It was for causes like these that magic was once banned in our lands. During the Third Age of Darkness, Exodus bred the goblins into an army dedicated to his wicked cause. Following his defeat, the survivors vanished from the face of Britannia, hunted down by vigilantes or banished to other realms. In those times, the goblins were so loosely bound to this world that a single spell could expel them from this plane of existence. It was only after our proclamation went out, promising clemency to those primitive monster forms who would undertake to follow the path of the Avatar, that the goblins were rediscovered. A delegation of goblin folk appeared at the gates of Castle Britannia, asking for an audience with Lord British. Not just one, but two species of goblins had survived in hiding from the days of Exodus. The Grey Goblins, originally mountain dwellers, had skulked in the caves of the Serpent's Spine Mountains. The forest-dwelling Green Goblins hid themselves by retreating into an underground river's channel near the baneful lake called Venom. Today, virtuous goblin folk make up 1/3 of our community. There was a time when a Green Goblin would rather slay a Grey Goblin than any other enemy, but the path of the Avatar has brought the tribes together as brothers. Though the two species rarely come to blows nowadays, the Grey and Green still attempt to outdo each other whenever possible in matters of virtue. Old enmities die hard. Corby, sorry. Trolls. In the district where I was raised, it is not uncommon for trolls to waylay an occasional traveler. Several times I have seen such brigands after justice had dealt with them, hanging from roadside crosses. Until I visited the Shrine of Compassion, therefore, it had not occurred to me how nearly civilized the troll people are. After all, they use civilized weapons stolen from us, wear tatters of clothing or hide, and speak a rough form of the same tongue which we speak. Curiosity next drove me to visit the Lyceum on Verity Isle, where I learned that the trolls had once been a mountain-dwelling people. Over recorded history, however, they have always moved closer to civilization. Today, they are commonly found along roads and under bridges. I became convinced that the trolls were fit candidates for the way of the Avatar. My servitors and I traveled the roads of Britannia for 2 years, recruiting trolls for our great abyssal experiment. Many of the monster forms rejected us, and some we were forced to slay in self-defense. However, I am glad to report that the trolls accepted our ways and now constitute an important section of our community. It has been difficult for many to accept the presence of the trolls. The knights were trained from youth to slay such creatures on sight, and goblins are a favorite food of trolls. Nevertheless, the virtues have triumphed, and those trolls who offend by dining on goblin flesh are immediately exiled if caught. Corby. Exiles. What follows has been written by me in the interests of honesty and justice. The fact that Sir Cabrius did not include these facts among his own writings was no doubt a simple oversight. Corby. Some colonists prove unable or unwilling to live according to the code of the Avatar. A few became discouraged by life in the abyss, which is hard and bleak. Some were formerly wicked men who honestly adopted the 8 virtues, but who, through weakness of will, returned to wickedness. There are those who say that the abyss itself works to degrade the quality of a man's character, but Sir Cabrius regarded this as sheer superstition. Those unable to live in peace with the rest of us are asked to separate themselves, and if they will not go of their own will, they are driven at the point of the sword. Most exiles join Baron Almric's keep, or from there sail back to their former land. However, some exiles descend further into the abyss than any colonists dwell. Knights who have explored the deeper recesses tell of reclusive beings. They call them ghouls, who eat rats and vermin. Our warriors claim that the exiles have degenerated in physical form, and that even though they were once of several races and colors, all approach a common, horrific semblance. I suspect these are stories embellished by a few rounds of ale, for who can believe such an occurrence? So I wondered if there was a TTRPG of Ultima, and there was once a TTRPG of this game. Oh, I'm absolutely certain. This game was one of the, original computer RPGs. Ultima, the series, was one of the very first computer RPGs. So having it translated into an actual tabletop role-playing game, I would have been surprised had there not been one. Ye who venture here. This passage is a guide to those who might feel moved to join our colony. This rough place is unsuited for those with soft hands or unsteady swords. In particular, we are looking for settlers of these 8 professions. Bard. Minstrels with bright songs and inspiring tales might relieve our bleak existence, and our colony is worthy of a new tale or two. Bards considering the journey to Avatar Isle must be prepared to perform deeds of valor, not just chronicle them. Many bards are greatly skilled with sling and crossbow, not to mention the arcane arts. These are talents always needed here. Druid. We are now seeking a contingent of druids to join us in the abyss. We hope they might be able to use their mystic abilities to persuade a sacred grove to take root in our chasm. Many druids are skilled with bow or mace, and so would be doubly useful. Druids generally shun the wearing of metal armor. Here, this is good, for in the abyss, sound carries easily and metal armor is noisy. Fighter. Those warriors wishing to join our Oh, I remember seeing that recently, Shadows, because I think I went looking as well. Either that or possibly when I was... Hi, Tatarlus. Definitely Rogan Hood. Fighter. Those warriors wishing to join our numbers should be prepared to satisfy the qualifications of our fighting society, the Order of the Crooks Unsata. Prospective knights should have spent their lives in martial training and have the use of all weapons and armor. The Order has particularly found the double-edged Britannian sword to be a devastating weapon in close quarters of the abyss. Horses are impractical in our surroundings, and we have no facilities to feed or stable mounts, so leave your steeds behind. The Order's custom is that engaging in magic is only a waste of energy for fighters. Knights leave spellcasting to the mages. Mage. As with the fighters, wizards desiring to join our colony must be ready to satisfy the entry requirements of a fraternal organization unique to the abyss. This is our magical society, the ancient illuminated seers of the Moonstone. Their bylaws encourage magic users to shun armor except that made of cloth, and to carry no weapons besides staff, sling, or dagger. Arcane weapons are, naturally, excluded from this limitation. However, no natural or magical law prevents spellcasters from using whatever armor and weapons they choose, and many of the younger seers opt for the heaviest arms and armor they can manage. Still, the seer's rules serve to keep the mage focused on his primary purpose, the working of magic. Okay. Paladin. I have lately regretted not encouraging immigration by members of this profession, as it might be useful to have colonists experienced in both magic and combat. It is well known that paladins are formidable warriors and valued allies. Ranger. With the coming of the druids, should I be successful in recruiting them to establish a grove in the abyss, we will of course also welcome woodsmen of all types. I have often thought that rangers would be useful here to track down intruding predators, and their training in woods lore might enlighten us about some of the odd creatures we find. Shepherd. I have given some thought to the introduction of sheep into the abyss, and for that reason we would like to encourage shepherds to make their way to our isle. Herders vary wildly in their training, some being adept at certain weapons or even spells, but the one certain attribute of every shepherd is a degree of humility, which would be most welcome here. Tinker. Our community has great need of any who can repair metal or wooden implements, especially weapons. There's subtle hints that things aren't going so great for them down in the abyss. Such artisans should also be warriors due to the nature of our settlement. I do not think that the well-known Tinker aversion to magic will be a problem here, for our mages are never intrusive. Especially weapons. Magic in the depths. I love that the illustrations are giving off like late 80s, early 90s hair metal band. Like they've all got like that because this is a game from 92. It's definitely that hair metal. Yeah, Shadows, it basically is. This is the introductory information to an RPG. So, like, if you open the game, it doesn't give you this. You have to look through this book in order to actually get this information. Otherwise, you can just start the game, but you won't know the context, which is the basis for the story, because it doesn't give it to you in the game. At least not in this much detail. And I don't know specifically this game, but in the past, a lot of them just didn't give you anything. You had to read the storybook to know where you were starting. Magic in the depths. In the first years of our settlement here in the Abyss, our mages have learned much about the nature of magic in this most strange place. Exactly, Tantaralis. What is written below is meant for the guidance of those pilgrim mages who may wish to join our company, lest you bring with you those items of great expense, which will be useless to you here. Many thanks to Seer Danlock, who has advised me in places where my natural gifts and learning failed me. A history of magic. Many alive today do not realize that magic, or the dreadful arts, as the mystic arts used to be known, was once a lost art in the land we now call Britannia. The rulers of the various city-states recognized the great evil which could be worked through the casting of powerful spells, and enforced a rigid ban on the practice of magic working. Unfortunately, there was one who did not hold himself subject to the rule of law. His name was Mondane, and his evil wizardry brought about the First Age of Darkness. In order to defeat him, certain good citizens took down from their shelves the long disused tomes of magic and taught themselves the secrets of the arcane world in order that their power might be used in opposition to the spells of Mondane the Wicked. There have been many ages since the defeat of Mondane, but the forces of evil, empowered by their knowledge of spellcasting, have never ceased to be a threat to our peaceful world. Therefore, our own mages have never abandoned their studies and have greatly added to the number and power of their spells over time. A wizard who is a true follower of the way of the Avatar recognizes his heavy responsibility to wisely use the arcane powers which he possesses. The prime virtue of all mages is honesty, for the practitioner of magic must strive to be free of illusions or confusions. He must see the world as it really is and correctly assess his own limitations and improper aspirations. Should a mage use the mystic arts for personal gain or vengeance, he might find that his powers have deserted him. The ways of magic are diverse and strange, and there is much yet to be learned by even our most advanced mages. We believe that the magical energies are arranged in 8 spheres, all positioned about a common center and each sphere larger than that which precedes it. Unseen bonds link these shells of energy with the workings of the physical plane. As a mage grows in learning, he also grows in his ability to touch the greater spheres of energy, until at last he can cast even the spells of the 8th circle. An important element in the manipulation of these arcane energies is the use of syllables of magic. For useless a mage can speak the proper words, unless a mage can speak the proper words of power, the energy of the spheres will remain locked to him. Runic magic. The magically attuned among our original colonists quickly discovered that the rules of magic, as known in the rest of the world, do not apply to our new underground home. As any student of our world's history must be aware, many titanic and dramatic events have unfolded in the vicinity of the great Stygian abyss. Indeed, the chasm and the isle itself originated in energies arcane. It's a lot of reading for a day where my tongue is getting tripped up. Our foremost mages believe that the release in past times of enormous mystic energies here has worn the dimensional fabric thin, allowing the laws of other worlds to mingle with and even negate certain of the mystic principles. Firstly, the casting of magic while in the abyss does not require the use of reagents. Bring no sulfurous ash, ginseng, spider silk, nightshade, black pearls, blood moss, or garlic. You will have no need for arcane ingredients in our community. Hi, Detective Zen! Staggers onto the bridge, hauling a large amount of processed wood. He drops them at the captain's feet and takes his position. Hopefully that typo in the crew database will be fixed. He's not a fan of being the chief planks officer. Thank you, Detective Zen. This is a huge change. You don't need ingredients to make your spells work. That's huge. Secondly, new colonists should leave behind their spellbooks. We have discovered a way to cast magic which works only in the abyss and which does not require the user to carry a cumbersome tome with him. There are, scattered among the corridors in the depths, special stones charged with mystic potency. Each of these stones is inscribed with a rune identifying its nature. These rune stones are similar in function to the syllables of magic used in ordinary Britannian magic. Any spell can be cast by a mage who possesses the rune stones pertaining to that spell, unless the caster lacks the experience to utilize the spells of that circle. Thirdly, rune stones can only be used when they are placed in a suitable receptacle. Our seers have enchanted special bags for this purpose, and will provide you with a rune bag upon your arrival. Fourthly, so this is a complete reworking of the magic system in the game. Mages in the depths must develop proficiency in the physical gestures associated with spellcasting. We have noted spell failures here when all other conditions have been satisfied, and we attribute these disappointments to a lack of casting skill on the part of the wizard. Sure, I believe you. Even though in previous games, casting while in the abyss sometimes led to unexpected results. Lastly, it is just as important for a runic mage to possess mana as it is for any other Britannian mage, for this is the power which must be channeled into all wizardry. The mystic energy is restored when a mage sleeps, or sometimes by the use of arcane objects such as scrolls. Bestiary. The prospective member of our community should not be discouraged to learn that there are many fierce beasts which inhabit the abyss. Numerous and diverse as they are, they have proved no match for the swords of our knights. Or so the knights tell us. Corby. Bats, these verminous, disease-ridden pests, proliferate in the more remote portions of the underworld. Bats are bird-like in aspect, but covered with a rough fur rather than feathers. Bats make annoying foes as they are difficult to strike and very swift, and are almost always found in flocks. Our knights report finding 2 varieties of bat in the abyss. Cave bats are not known to be fearsome antagonists, preferring to avoid battle when they can. Being dark as midnight, they are difficult to sight, but may be detected by the high squealing sounds they make when communicating amongst themselves. One is easily killed with a well-placed blow. You always thought it was bestiary? I mean, it could be. Bestiary. I've always said it bestiary, but I don't know. On the other hand, vampire bats. The vampire bat is a robust creature which seems to seek out opponents. This cunning beast, which can be distinguished from the cave bat by its red fur, prefers to attack from above and may easily remain unseen by those who keep their eyes fixed on the ground looking for traps or gold. Beware the bite of the vampire bat, for the venom it releases is strong enough to sear one's skin. Bloodworms! Yay! These repulsive green crawlers are distantly related to the common rotworms of Britannia, but are possessed of an aggressive nature that would befit a creature 10 times their size. Sir Broderick stumbled upon a subterranean nest of these vermin and quickly discovered that they were not as easily killed as rotworms. Seeking to find a better location to make his stand against the beasts, the knight retreated, only to discover the worms pursuing him with single-minded determination. Broderick finally slew them all, only to die from poisoning of the blood as a result of the worm's venom. He scrawled notes, written as a selfless act by a dying man, were recently recovered by explorers, but the good knight's body has never been found. Ooh, I sense a quest there. Fire elementals. These beings of fire, left in the chasms after eruptions of lava in the last age, are among the most challenging foes of the abyss. First of all, one should know that these elementals have the ability to toss portions of themselves, balls of living fire, at their opponents. Secondly, they are fearsome warriors, quick to attack with their flaming arms, nimble enough to escape most blows, and sturdy enough to withstand grievous damage. It is often prudent to avoid their attention by passing quietly and at a distance. Elementals are said to be nearly blind. Gazers. Surely this creature was created by sorcerous means, for no natural law could have given birth to a beast this monstrous. Gazers float through the corridors of our chasm, and with their many eyeballs, are quick to spot intruders into their domain. Do not underestimate the fearsomeness of this obstacle, as a gazer's attack, noted by the wink of its great central eye or the twist of an eye stalk, cuts as deep as a sword thrust, and the beast seldom misses its mark. Ghosts. Our seers have been at a loss to explain the presence of several types of spectral beings which are sometimes found within the underworld. We do not know whether these are the spirits of Britannia's dead or merely beasts of an ethereal nature. The typical ghost is no match for an experienced warrior, as 2 or 3 well-placed blows will quench its essence, and in such a short fight, the specter cannot seriously injure its foe. More dangerous are the rarer, more powerful ghost forms. The white ghost, which differs from a typical ghost by being opaque and blazingly white in hue, is more substantial in this plane and thus much more difficult to slay. Therefore, combat against this foe typically takes much longer, and the white ghost can easily slay its foe in such a span of time. The most dangerous form of ethereal being to be found here is the dire ghost. I know dire wolves and dire bears and dire panthers and dire mice and dire creatures of all sorts. I've never heard of a dire ghost. These are phantoms. Sounds dire. Dark as night and as substantial as a shadow, this creature is difficult to see until it attacks, when its eyes glow a bright golden color. Seer Moonwane believes that these ghosts are the remnants of slain monsters, based on the observation that dire ghosts attack with an unmatched ferocity. According to the images in the book, these are the souls of people who died by being tangled up in their blankets. Yeah. Giant rats. Over the centuries, the rodents of Britannia have grown ever larger and hungrier. In the catacombs and tunnels which honeycomb this land, natural agility and sharp teeth are these creatures' chief advantages. Even a single giant rat poses a significant danger for a lightly armed opponent, though an experienced warrior can slay a pack in as many blows as there are enemies. Of the rats which have bred in the abyss, we have distinguished two varieties. The giant tan rat, commonly found in the drier upper levels, is an aggressive beast with the disgusting tactic of leaping up in order to slash with its teeth at an enemy's throat. The great gray rat is found in the lower depths, where it feeds upon the refuse washed down from higher in the chasm. Consequent to their revolting eating habits, these rats are universally infected with noxious germs, which they pass on with every bite. Seldom do our knights tangle with great gray rats without someone in the party becoming ill. Fortunately, these rats can often be avoided and driven off with a spirited defense. Golems. Whether these monsters are natural to this chasm or whether they were created here by long ago wizards experimenting with dark forces, our wisest men cannot say. Germs, Tantarlus. What we do know is that the golems attack us on sight, and that no single mortal warrior has yet been a match for their fearsome strength and resistance to damage. Each type of golem appears to have been formed from a different element, and they also differ somewhat in mass. The earth golem, a brown-hued figure composed of solidified soil, is the smallest. Still, it is a formidable creature best tackled by well-armed opponents. Then, Knight Galloway claims that he once escaped from such a golem by entering a maze of passageways. He thinks these beasts track their foes by eyesight and are probably hard of hearing. The stone golem is larger than the earth golem and can be recognized by its gray color, as it can slay a man in as few as 2 blows, and since it would seem to take many sword strikes to slay it, our knights only tackle this opponent in teams. Worst of all these unnatural creatures is the metal golem. Noted for its mottled rust and steel appearance, few weapons can dent this massive being, while a single blow from a metal golem can leave a warrior crippled for life. Knight Galloway concludes that metal golems were practically blind, but his recent death at their hands has put his theory into disrepute. Golems look like the Incredible Hulk if he was soaked in cooking oil. I was thinking more, I don't know the name, but I was going more X-Men in my brain. This, yeah, I don't know. What in the world is this song? It's fine. I just don't recall ever adding it to my playlist, and it's supposed to be playing from my playlist. Colossus. I was thinking of Colossus here. The Headless. Yes, self-care. Also, probably will have ads happening here in a minute. In 7 minutes, apparently. No, but seriously, Pretzel Rocks, what the hell? This is not on my playlist. You say you're playing from my playlist, but I have never heard this song before, so I don't know how I added it to my playlist. And indeed, I go and look at my playlist, and this song is not on it. Pretzel, what's going on? I'm so confused. Okay, look, I want you to play from my playlist. Okay, but literally you just played another song that's not on my playlist. Don't understand. I go to the playlist, I click play. And it starts playing a song that's not on the playlist. It's usually not an issue, because usually it just plays from my playlist for the small bits of time where I actually need background music. But like, I don't know what happened. I don't know why all of a sudden it started playing random songs that aren't on my playlist. Anyway, the headless. Do not fall prey to pity for these wretched deformities, for the headless have a relentless animosity for all upright beings with heads. They attack without thought and give no quarter unless on the verge of their own extinction. Having no visible eyes or ears, it has long been a mystery how the headless find and pursue their prey. It is a simple matter to avoid a pack of these beasts by exercising silence and keeping a prudent distance. Amazing, they attack without thought. Who would have guessed that without a head, they don't think? Imps, these damnable abominations, virtually extinct elsewhere in Britannia, remain alive in the abyss despite our best efforts to slay every last one of them. They are a foul conglomeration, part demon, part monkey, and perhaps part creature or creatures unknown, to account for their hideous green coloring. Flying lazily overhead in the larger crevices, taunting our knights and tossing down the occasional arcane bolt, imps have been a nuisance and a thorn in our flesh since our arrival. They are poor fighters when one can draw them into hand-to-hand combat and can easily be slain with a sword thrust or two if they can be enticed to fight. Lurkers. For the most part, these tentacled monstrosities have been more of a nuisance than a threat. Lurkers dwell in the subterranean rivers and channels of the abyss, and have never been seen on land. They are normally seen floating just below the surface of the water, with their eyes and yellow tentacles poking out above. We know of a few cases in which a lurker has pursued a swimmer, and once a beast became so enraged that it lurked at the water's edge and attacked those along the shore. Knight Willamar tells of encountering a more ferocious variety of lurker in the deeper catacombs. This deep lurker is reportedly a veritable giant. We do not know if it is a lone monster or one of a new subspecies. Its great size could not be detected from the small profile it presented above the water, but the deep lurker should be recognizable by its distinctive green color. Willowmar spent many days recovering from his battle and was for a time racked by a mysterious fever that poisoned his brain, but we do not know if the disease came from the monster or some other source. Mongbats. Oh, the mongbats. Mongbats rank even worse than imps as the most pestiferous elements in our underground abode. Resembling a cross between bat and monkey, these brown avians have no honor, but instead conduct battle by swooping down to score a hit, then flying off to circle out of range of one's weapons. Even worse, the beasts are so swift and nimble that they're difficult to hit, even in close combat. These evil pests are most accurate in their diving attacks, though fortunately they are too small to cause great damage with any single blow. We would exterminate these vermin if we could. Reapers. Legend tells us that the first Reapers were born when an ancient, enchanted forest was swallowed up in a cataclysmic upheaval long ago. They have no honor. Exactly, Bastion Cider. Ever since these animate arcane tree forms have been found in subterranean places, often guarding some object they fancy or patrolling their chosen territory. The common Reapers of Britannia are fully mobile for only a brief period in their cycle, or in their life cycle. But the specimens to be found here can wander about at will, though quite slowly. Although their wildly swinging branches often miss their targets, one blow that strikes a valiant warrior can do more damage than any sword thrust. Therefore, Reapers are a serious menace to be avoided by the inexperienced warrior. Mass Effect Reaper noises. Oh dear. We are about to have the automated ads, and during that, I'm going to have a little talk with Pretzel Rocks. So the music might cease on the Be Right Back screen for a brief period of time, but I'll be back in a couple minutes. We're near the end of this, and then we'll actually get to open the game. So see you soon. Okay, I don't know. Also, when I hit that one, it automatically turns the music off. So we'll just anyway. We're gonna finish this now. Imps are terrible to deal with when injured. Many healers can tell you how frustrating it is to deal with impatience. Oh no, then that deserves points. It does deserve a point. The question is, do I remember my own points command? Possibly. Let me try this. Ha! I have done it. From memory, no less. Rotworms. In the dank depths of the underworld, where rot infects, corrosion ruins, and corruption festers, can be found the foul nests of these loathsome worms. Should one approach close enough to be sensed by a rotworm, the beast is sure to attack. An armored warrior has little to fear from these worms, but an ill-equipped explorer could easily be overcome by sheer numbers. Shadow beasts. There is little we can say about this entity or family of entities. We obviously cannot see that which is invisible, so we do not know how many there are. The shadow beast is thought to be immensely powerful, more than a match for any single warrior. When attacked by an unseen adversary, first look up for a flying attacker and down lest a small worm or other foe is striking. If none of these be the case, then suspect the shadow beast and begin to strike in all directions. Amazing. Skeletons. Perhaps a consequence of the unique arcane nature of our abyssal environment, these undead creatures may be found almost anywhere. Some think skeletons crawl directly out of the rock walls of the chasm. Furthermore, these monsters are most commonly found in groups. Should you find one skeleton, there are likely to be more around the corner. Skeletons hate all living beings. Fortunately, they are weak, ineffective warriors. Slugs. Not to be mistaken. Ooh, hi, Hannah. Enjoy your game. Not to be mistaken for the common slimes of Britannia, the slugs of the abyss are gelatinous, amorphous entities. Their extremely small and limited minds are entirely taken up with an insatiable curiosity, and so slugs are certain to follow any motion they detect. Fortunately for explorers, slugs have no eyes or ears and therefore miss much that occurs around them. Why are skeletons naked? Weren't they buried in armor at least? I do not know. Of the two varieties of slug found locally, the flesh slug, notable for its pale, fleshy color, is the most common and least dangerous. We are not certain if these creatures intend to bite their victims, or if their offensive actions are accidents of their constant writhing. Certainly no warrior of any experience need fear these pitiful beasts. However, beware the greenish acid slug. Though only a little larger than the flesh slug, the acid slug secretes a noxious vapor which sometimes intoxicates its foes. Despite its fearsome name, this slug is not poisonous, merely inedible. It's still doing it. I don't know why it's doing it, and I'm mad at Pretzel Rocks right now. Spiders! The repellent arachnids which patrol the depths of the abyss are not of the web-building kind, but roam the crevices in search of fresh prey. The common giant spiders, dark gray in color, these gargantuan spiders are midway in stature between a bloodhound and a small pony. And since they travel in mated pairs or clans, these creatures present a reasonable challenge to the typical fighting man. Despite their bloated appearance and short legs, don't be surprised by their leaping form of attack. Smaller in form and reddish brown in hue is the poisonous wolf spider. It is the most easily killed of the large spiders, but the wolf spider will likely score one or two bites and inject its red bile, a powerful poison, before succumbing to the inevitable. Most knights think this spider to be relatively inoffensive, but Knight Vitalar reports the beasts have attacked him whenever they have detected his presence. The greatest adversary among the arachnids of the abyss is the dread spider. A ghostly white or light gray in color, this creature is the equivalent in combat of 2 or 3 of its cousins, very sturdy and thus difficult to kill. To compound the problem, this spider is a vicious opponent, capable of repeatedly penetrating one's armor with its sharp bite. The dread spider is one of the most venomous creatures known in the abyss. As you may or may not know, I do not like spiders. As an Australian, I always wonder why they don't use large spiders in games like this. Hi, Consilience. Yes, it's terrifying. Ooh, Hannah, thank you for the 5-stream streak. Yeah, I'm not a fan of spiders, and I forgot they were in the games. And then they named one a wolf spider, and I have seen large wolf spiders, and they are scary because they can kill you. And they jump. I had one this close to my face. I'm not a fan of spiders. Wisps! Having the harmless appearance of floating bits of light, the solitary wisp of the abyss would appear to be no more than a beautiful apparition. The contrary is true. Wisps are nearly indestructible masses of energy, and given their tremendous speed and devastating electrical attacks, they cannot be fought by ordinary mortals. Our seers think them capable of casting magic as well, and often seek them out to consult them on arcane matters. Yeah, don't fight the wisps. You go to ask them questions. Afterward. The volume penned by Corby, scribe of Sir Cabrius, came into the possession of our library after many years of being passed on from one reader to another. At this time, I should like to make some historical clarifications. Firstly, there have been many suspicions about Sir Cabrius's death. These I wish to put to rest. Corby's scrawled notes testify that his master died in his sleep, in an ordinary, though untimely manner. There is no evidence whatever to support rumors of murder by poison or strange magics. Such unfounded speculations apparently helped to stir up the discord which led to the downfall of the Abyss colony. Secondly, there is the matter of the theft of the 8 mystic devices which Sir Cabrius collected before his death. It was Cabrius's plan to cement the harmony of his settlement by presenting each of these artifacts to a different group or faction among his community. Unfortunately, he did not leave a guide as to how to distribute the items. This caused great disagreement among colonists, and certain factions seized those objects which they believed Cabrius meant for them. Even the grave of Sir Cabrius was desecrated by colonists hungry for treasure. What follows is a description of the 8 arcane devices. Unfortunately, the precise nature of the enchantment upon the artifacts is unknown to me. A wisp take, yes. Those both deserved points. Book of Truth. Said to have been penned by Ravenhurst of Moonglow, a great philosopher of the past age, this book contains meditations on the meaning of life, the importance of truth, the fallibility of the senses, and the difficulty of seeing even what is directly adjacent to one's mustache. Ring of Humility. This simple ring was worn by Bill, the humble son of Jen. Bill labored at Lord British's Museum of Oddities to repair and preserve the exhibits, yet never asked for a reward. Cup of Wonder. This object was carved from the heartwood of an ancient oak by one of the finest craftsmen of Skara. Shield of Valor. Once carried by Lord Blackthorn, this shield was set aside when the noble ascended to the rulership of Britannia upon the kidnapping of Lord British. A tale told in Warriors of Destiny. It is therefore symbolic of valor, which Blackthorn also set aside when he became regent. Standard of Honor. This banner was carried by none other than Sir Garachi, who was slain at Lord British's side during the ill-fated expedition to the Underworld, as related in Warriors of Destiny. Though Garachi could have saved himself by fleeing, he instead upheld his oath to serve his king until death. Sword Caliburn. Reportedly molded after a legendary sword from the world of the Avatar, this weapon is said to cleave truth from falsehood. I wonder. Excalibur. Taper of Sacrifice. Crafted by the finest artisans of Minok, this candle was once used to illuminate the Shrine of Sacrifice. I am told that none may bathe in the light from this taper without appreciating this truth, that the candle produces light only through its own destruction. Wine of Compassion. Brewed by the brethren at Empath Abbey, this noble vintage is said to open one's heart to the sufferings of others. Thirdly, I must warn all to avoid the Stygian abyss. Without Sir Cabrius to guide them, the colonists warred among themselves. Contact with the subterranean community has been lost for many years, and I fear that there are no human survivors. Joy, Librarian. Okay. Well, I'm not going to dive into the clue book quite yet. We get maps, advice, path. That's going to be the walkthrough. History. Afterword for modern readers. We'll possibly look at this later, but it is unnecessary at this moment. Plus, I'm tired of having to fix the music every single time a song ends. People complained when I bathed in light, so I went back to bathing in water. All right. Let's go back to this. Bathe in Umbra. Okay. I need to actually open the game. I haven't opened it previously because it's going to play some cinematics at the beginning. And so I wanted to have it ready for that. My Veenders got my Veenders all screwed up. All right. Do let me know if I need to adjust the game audio, like the volume.
At last, you are asleep. For 3 nights, each attempt to rest has brought you starting from your bed in fright, with no memory of what horrified you so. With a sickening sense of deja vu, you begin to dream.
treachery and doom. My brother would unleash a great evil. Britannia is in peril.
Sure that the ghost can take you to Britannia, you allow yourself to be drawn to him.
A visitor, and from far away indeed. Were he not dead, I'd suspect my brother sent thee. No matter, thou shalt serve to draw the hounds from the scent.
Below, a creature heads toward the dark woods, a thrashing sack slung over its massive shoulder.
That was a somewhat Hamlet-ish opening.
What hast thou done with our lord's daughter Ariel? Dropped her below to an accomplice, I'll wager. Well, he'll nigh escape us, and when we bring him back, he'll both hang.
Several tense hours later, you are dragged before Baron Ulmric. Ignoring you, Ulmric questions his captain.
What news, Corwin?
Forgive us, my lord. The foul creature escaped. A score of us gave chase, but it fled into the Stygian abyss with poor Ariel. We were attacked, goblins and worse, my lord. Only 3 of us survived.
I see.
The Baron turns his hard grey eyes upon you.
I was warned of thy coming. Last fortnight, an apparition of an old, haggard man appeared in my dreams. Guard thy daughter well, it warned, for an evil one shall come to steal her away. I posted guards at Ariel's door, but still you took her from me. They say thou didst drop her to a troll waiting below. What sayest thou?
You explain that you are the Avatar, and that you are innocent.
Whether thou speak truth or falsehood, I cannot say. Stories tell of the coming of the Avatar, but years have passed since he visited here. If thou art truly the Avatar, then perhaps thou canst offer hope. None here can survive the Stygian abyss and rescue Ariel. My mind is set. Corwin shall take thee to the abyss. Return here with my daughter, and thy innocence shall be proven. If thou dost not return, Avatar, then thy lies shall have brought thee low.
Toss her into the lake. If she sinks, she's innocent. If she floats, then she's a witch.
This be the foul pit's only entrance. Once it is locked, none can pass. I will shut thee in and stand guard till I hear Ariel's voice from within. Otherwise, 'twill remain shut forever.
Okay. I guess we should create character. Yet ye be not blue, nor a bender of air. Okay, left or right-handed? Just because I'm not, we'll do left-handed. Oh dear. What class do I want to play? Well, Koro was a waterbender. Let's see. Druids can't use the metal armor. Fighter is good, but can't use spells. Mage, but then you can't really use weapons. Possibly Paladin. It'd be interesting to be a shepherd, druid, or tinker. I think I'm gonna go paladin and just do the mix of like magic and might, because I don't know much about this game, and I know I want magic for sure, but I don't know how much fighting. So Spellblade, be a shepherd and throw sheep at the enemy. I think it would be an interesting game, but okay, pick a skill. I can always start over. Avatar does sound like a paladin. Appraise, charm, acrobat, or repair. Well, we'll go sword. We got some options here. Traditionally, the avatar is blonde hair and blue eye, because that's how it's always been described in the game, and you never had a choice. We're going redhead. We'll do standard. Yeah, sure. Let's go. Rogan enters the abyss. All right. Oh my god. Y'all. It's almost WASD. Except instead of the S, it's an X. Which is somewhat difficult, but you see a sack. But keyboard commands for look no longer happen, or no longer work. Nope. It's WAXD. Instead of S, it's X. So it's the row below, which is actually harder. Oh my god, you can click and drag! Okay, that's a map. Aha, it's a badly worn dagger. A somewhat used torch. A day-old fish. A day-old loaf of bread. And a day-old apple. I may not remember. Let's look at the map. What? You can write notes! Okay, but I don't... There we go. It's like, how do I erase the notes? That is so cool. Okay, this is my current vitality. That's my current mana. Huh. Oh. It did warn us to save the game, because if we didn't save the game immediately, we'd have to do character creation again. Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. So if I want to run, I have to use the actual click on the screen interface. Or no, the keyboard controls will make you run pretty fast. Okay, that's cool. Mossy, irregular stone wall. Whoops. I keep trying to hit S to move backwards. Dirt floor. Ceiling. Locked doors of the abyss. Wait. Talk to the doors? Can't talk to the doors. I cannot pick up the doors. The doors are securely locked. All right. Interesting. What is that plant? You see a plant. Nothing to get, but there's a plant. Apparently, I cannot pick the plant up. It's going to take me a little bit just to get used to the the way this works. You see a skull. Oops. I now have skull. The writing reads, "We attacked the entrance with all manner of tools, but it gave not a hair. It simply cannot be breached. Hence, we have resigned ourselves to die in this hellish pit. Elsmore." Well, that's just great. I love that. That's just wonderful. I'm still in the starting room. Okay, what? No. What is that? A broken axe. I don't know why we would want a broken axe, but for the moment. A pull chain. It reminded me that there was a pull chain in the interface as well. First level paladin, strength of 17, dex of 19, int of 24. Interesting. Okay, it's gonna take me a little bit because I suddenly lack keyboard shortcuts for things that should have keyboard shortcuts. They went too far in the mouse interface direction. And there are now I can't actually click on that arrow. All right, let's see. There's a door over there. Do I want to go in the door yet? Oh, I didn't want to look. I want to get. I don't know that I need these. I probably don't. But it's good to know that I can pick them up. I wonder if I can throw them. You see a sturdy door. The door is locked. Oh, I have to actually swing. Okay, the combat system I was not expecting. It's not as simple as click on it. I have to hold down until, and if I want to swing, I have to. I literally attacked the door until it opened. Well, I now know that that's possible. Okay, let's not follow the... Ooh. I like the little dragons. How do I... Ah! It's like, how do I turn the torch on? Another door. Attack the darkness. See if it lights up. Two half-burned candles, a mushroom, and a worn cudgel. I don't think I need all these skeleton bits. Pieces of wood. Looks like we have a flail. Or oh, it's a broken mace. I don't need broken weapons, right? Oh, you can throw things. They look like those of an adventurer. The bones. Interesting. Let me practice throwing. Come on. Come here, Scully. Okay. The question is, can I throw lower? Or is it always up high? Well, that's difficult, but okay. Another locked door. Well. The dagger was damaged. That's not great. The door is hurting my dagger. I should maybe stop attacking that door. Or I shall not have a weapon. Use bone on what? Use bone on map? No. Probably because that door is metal. Probably. Oh, I do have a cudgel. Candles. Red. I don't remember. There was a place to click to find out if I'm hungry, but I don't remember where. You are currently well fed and awake. You are on the first level of the abyss. It is the first day of your imprisonment. You guess that it is currently early evening. All of the locked our doors. I broke that one open. I wish I could like crouch to look through that. It's not a dark floor, it's a piece of wood. Don't need a piece of wood right now. Ooh, what is that? That looks like blood. It is a bloodstain, indeed. Indeed it is. That's great. Pile of bones, skull. Ort stone? Oh, gimme. I got a rune stone, but I don't have a rune bag to put it in. Well, I guess I won't be casting with it. I also have a Jux stone. It's too far away. I wonder. Thing that's the thing I keep trying to do that I can't actually do is looking up and down. I can't. I don't have the rune to hold many things. That was excellently done. But I can jump. The question is, how do I run and jump? Okay, that's how. That's gonna take some practice. Pile of bones. A pack. Every adventurer needs a pack. You see an open pack. Oh, ooh. Bet in lore sanct. My dearest Alfred, go into the abyss, knowing that I will not forget thee. As bitter as the Baron's justice dost seem, 'tis better than a hangman's noose. No matter the passing of the years, I will await thy return. Yours forever, Sandra. The handle of the key is tarnished from heavy use. I have a key here. Okay, let's see here. Put that in the pack. We have a bone, some wood. I know I don't need the bone. I'm curious about this mushroom. It just says it's a mushroom, so I don't know if it's edible or not. No, I don't want to zero. All right, so we got candles there. I feel like, okay, we got a food bag, we've got a lighting bag, we've got, okay, so food, pack has weapon and letter. We got our runes. Oh. All right, on. Okay, we got bet. We got in. We have Jux, lore, Ort, and Sanct. Cool. Not a spell. Okay. I thought protection from magic would be a good spell. I need to learn how to do casting, so let's see. In Mani Lem. In lore. Ort Jux. Bet in Sanct. Oh, hello. Sanct Pur. Okay, so it's just given us what we need to be able to protect ourselves from being damaged. That's good to know. Let's douse our torch and try in lore. The incantation failed. There. I'm not a very experienced caster yet, but that's why you cast spells. You see a sturdy door. Can't get better unless you practices. See lots of wood and stone walls and okay. Uh-oh. That is gonna take a little getting used to. Come on. Stale piece of meat belonging to a rat. Well, but it's mine now. Leggings? Huh? Badly worn leather leggings. And they do indeed just cover my legs. And only my legs. Okay. Let's check. We had some locked doors back this way, didn't we? Apparently the key I have will not open this door. I'm gonna run into so many walls. What is that? A pile of debris. I hate to think what condition those leggings were in before you put them on. I don't think they were in very good condition. I remember this feels very much like when so I haven't words. I should use words. Some of you may have watched Amy Dallin playing the King's Quest games, and this interface and everything feels very familiar in its difficulty to when she played I believe it was King's Quest 8. Like the last of them that was not like the others, and seemed rather difficult to control. It definitely took her a minute to learn the controls and get used to them. A badly worn hand axe, a somewhat used torch. Okay. Supplies? Yeah. You go there. A bowl. We'll put that with the supply. Do I want this hand axe? It's not smart to get. I may need it at this point. I don't know. Pile of debris. Rough-hewn wall. Broken sword. Skulls. Piles of bones. That is just a pile of debris. There's something there, though. You cannot pick that. Nothing to get. It looks like something. Fine. Can I talk to the pile of debris? No. Okay, what else do I have? Okay, I've got a fish and bread, an apple, chicken, cheese, mushroom. What is my current? Currently fed. Not well fed, but fed. Okay. You know, I have just accumulated a thought. It percolated up through my brain. What? Oh, that's a ring slot. That's what that is. Ah. Do I need the key to be up there? I don't think I do. Axe on door. Axe worked. The smell is a little overpowering, but it did work. Right? The smell of axe is axing to be let in. This is true. A bedroll. Bedroll, yum. All right. Well, let's go ahead and put that in the supplies bag. More mushrooms. Are they... Oh, they're toadstools. The fact that that is called a toadstool and not a mushroom makes me think probably not edible. Or, well, anything is edible at least once, but probably not advisable to eat. All right. Half burned versus somewhat used. Okay. I don't know which way we came. More of the bloody stains on the floors. Uh-oh. I am amazed that I managed to cross. Wait, come back here. Talk. Braggett. Hail, stranger. What be thy business? I have not seen thee in this place before. I'm merely exploring the abyss. I was attempting to rescue an innocent girl. I was thrown in here as punishment for a crime I did not commit. And unjustly imprisoned art thou? 'Tis the usual story, my lad, but that is not to say it may not be true in thy case, I suppose. Thou needst not be ashamed of thy misfortune, lad. Thou art in the same pot with all of us now. If thou art to have a chance of surviving in the abyss for long, thou must learn the lay of the land. Indeed, I would be eager to learn of this area. First off, I would suggest picking up anything thou dost find that seems of use. Items here are scarce enough. Thou wouldst be advised to take what you can. Scavenge all you want, but stealing is ill-advised. Most of the Abyss's inhabitants guard jealously the few possessions that they have. Battle sites are the best for scavenging. That's why I'm here. A battle took place here not long ago. A battle between the goblins and the above-worlders. What was the cause of the battle? I don't know. It is rare that the Baron sends his men into the Abyss. It must have been important, though. By the looks of it, the goblins defeated them handily. The goblins control most of these upper caves. Two races there are, the green and the gray. If they do not destroy each other, it is not for lack of trying. Be thou especially careful of the gray goblins. I was recently imprisoned by them for trespassing. I know, I've played RPGs before. It must have been awful. How did you escape? My prison cell was evidently a converted storeroom, for it had a stock of useful items, including a long pole. Using the pole, I was able to reach a button which opened the door to my cell. I sneaked away and returned to my people. I do not think I will venture there again. Tell me of thy people. The humans, like thee and myself, have staked out a small area in which we live in relative peace. Below us are the mountain men, and after that, I don't know. Are all races but ours hostile? A nasty place this is, thou canst be certain of that. In the parts of the upper caves uninhabited by goblins, there are giant spiders and worms. Our small group is one of the few devoted to peace. Thou canst find my people by going west from the entrance to the Abyss, and then north. There is a small chasm to jump over, but thou dost seem to be a dexterous lad. Past the chasm is the sign of civilization everywhere throughout the Abyss, the banner of Cabrius, marked with an ankh, the sign of the Avatar. Outside of areas marked with the banner, thou shouldst watch thyself most carefully. Most creatures who do not respect Cabrius' legacy are not particularly friendly. Perhaps I will seek this area out. Good luck in thy travels. Aw, I wanted to ask him to join me. Game wouldn't let me. I can't talk to the rock? I see water. I see Braggett. I don't... Run, jump! Haha. Uh-oh. I see worm. I forgot which button did what. A dead rotworm. Oh dear. I don't actually... Oh, but I wanted to search it. Yeah, it's just a dead rotworm. A switch. A shield. I shall take the shield, please. I wonder what it did. Not yet. Interesting. Well, he seemed nice. We should go find his people. There's a door here. Uh-oh. Vampire bat. Ah! I so need to get used to this combat. Imagine all the people. Ah! I've been poisoned. Okay, there's got to be an easier way to do this combat. This is very difficult. Where'd it go? Bats. Maybe I guess I defeated the bat? Mildly poisoned. Resist blows, stealth, cause fear, detect monster, lesser heal. In Betmani. I don't have all of those. Okay. Well, that seems to be a big underground river that I probably don't want to just go swimming in, especially while I'm mildly poisoned. So, you get in here and they want to make sure you know how to run and jump. In order to get out of here. And clearly I'm not doing great with that. Nope. Okay. Come on. There we go. Running and jumping is an odd set of controls. This is just above that room. What did he say as to the location? Inscribed upon the scroll is your map. He gave directions. I took a screenshot of it. Also, we have gone over a little bit, which is fine, but I will be ending shortly. Yeah, the controls are definitely part of the challenge. West from the entrance to the abyss, and then north. Okay, so this was the entrance. Go west from the entrance to the abyss? Oh, west from the entrance to the abyss, and then north. But small chasm to jump. This is the entrance to the abyss. If I go west from here and then north, I end up where I was fighting the bat eventually, but otherwise I don't. I don't know. Okay, so this was the entrance, yes? go west. I can't go west. So I have to start by going north. That's east. So this is west and then north. And there is no chasm to jump over. So this does not seem to be the spot. So if I continue westward and go north, this is where I fought the rat. That doesn't seem to be it. And this is where I met the guy. But the other direction is east. So confused. I'm going to get so lost in this game. It's going to be so much fun. All right. Well, east, there's just a locked door that we couldn't get through. 2 locked doors. Well, oh dear. I don't know how to fix the poisoning. Apparently the apple tasted good. The mushroom causes your head to spin and your vision to blur. The toadstool tastes odd and you begin to feel ill. The fish tasted pretty good. I'm gonna try... Thou hast arrived! They have already, but with haste and virtue. We seek out and speak to the civilized inhabitants of the abyss. They end, and thy decisions and actions will... I got part of a vision. Oh, good. Sleeping got rid of the poison. That was my hope. Well, we're gonna save. Because we are over time, and it is time for me to find us somewhere else to go. We got a start, and I'm excited to see where we go from here. So let me... Ooh. The volume destroyed my ears there for a second. What now? What's broken now? Why is it broken? Hello? Hi? What happened? Refresh? I don't know why the credits aren't working. Well, thank you everybody for joining me. The credits worked when I tested before stream, so I don't know what's up. But thank you for stopping by, hanging out with me while I got started on this new game. Thank you to my mods, and thank you to everybody who stopped by. Of course, Stephen, thank you for the resubscription. And Sterling, thank you for the on-screen celebration at the start of stream, as well as, let's see, Hannah, thank you for the 5-stream streak. And yeah, everybody, just thanks for being here and hanging out. And I know it's been a little while since I did a Saturday, but I'm happy to be starting a new game and interested to see how poorly I can do with these controls. Let me see. Yeah. I think we're gonna pop on over and say hi to Painting Pirate. So I will encourage everybody to join me in saying hello. I don't often get to raid Chris, so apparently it is Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. Have some fun hanging out with some roguish pirate peoples. I do have a raid call. If you want to pop it in chat when we get over there, it comes in both subscriber and non-subscriber flavors. And so, take the one that's to your taste. Thank you so much for joining me. I should be back on Monday night with some more strange horticulture. I know we're pretty close to the end on that one, so we'll see what happens. But thanks for joining me. I hope I see you again soon until I do get out there and do some shenanigans, everybody.